Who's that coming through the front door, mama? Son, you really ought to know. Who's that coming through the front door, mama? Son, you really ought to know. That's the IRS tax man. He come to the door, he asks for me, tell him I don't live here no more. Who's that coming through the front door, mama? Son, you really ought to know. I mean, son, you really ought to know. Well, who's that coming through the back door, mama? Son, you really ought to know. Who's that coming through the back door, mama? Son, you really ought to know. That's your old Uncle Henry, he's a coming to stay. He's gonna take care of things while your dad is away. Who's that coming through the back door, mama? Son, you really ought to know. I mean, son, you really ought to know. Climbing through the window now, mama. Son, you really ought to know. Who's that slipping through the window now, mama? Son, you really ought to know. Now, son, that ain't nothing for you to worry about. That's just that big old black tomcat I've been telling you about. Who's that coming through the window now, mama? Son, you really ought to know. I mean, son, you really ought to know. Who's that lying in the bed with you, mama? Son, you really ought to know. Who's that lying in the bed with you, mama? Son, you really ought to know. I've been working all day, I done throwed out my back. There's just some pillows I got piled up for my sack, really. Who's that sleeping in the bed with you, mama? Son, you really ought to know. I mean, son, you really ought to know. Who's that coming down the chimney now, mama? Son, you really ought to know. Who's that coming through the chimney now, mama? Son, you really ought to know. Oh, son, that ain't no reason to go and call the law. That ain't nobody but jolly old Santa Claus. Who's that sliding down the chimney now, mama? Son, you really ought to know. I mean, son, you really ought to know. Oh, yeah, son, you really ought to know.